Right, I'm going to do a video on, well, drug overdoses actually, because I think I make so many positive drug videos and, talking about so many of the positive effects and such that I think it is time to talk about some of the negative as well. And, let's let's be real, overdoses exist. And it's good to know they exist. It's good to scare yourself sometimes so you don't go over the top. So, yeah, I'm going to give you some overdose stories. Now, most of these aren't mine. I've only overdosed once in a way that could have been, well, maybe twice in a way that could have been fatal, actually. And quite a lot of times in terms of like mental incapacitation, but I'm talking more about fatal overdoses or, well, sort of mentally incapacitating ones as well. I've had a couple of them myself, but I'll first start off with my sort of near fatal overdose. You probably heard of it before if you've watched the Cocaine Experience report, 'cause I think I talk about it on there, or maybe bad experiences with stimulants, something like that. Anyway, obviously it was on cocaine, since I've stated about the Coke report. And there was one night, and I think I snorted about 1 or 2 grams of cocaine just in one go, a massive amount of cocaine, and it was pretty high grade stuff. At first I felt, like an absolute G. Thought I was going to take over the world, this, that, and the other. Just fucking really hyped up, man. Just energy like hell. But anyway, I realised very quickly, maybe 3 or 4 minutes in, that there was something wrong with my heart. My heart felt like it was going to fall out my chest. I felt extreme anxiety. I felt like I was going to throw up. It was not nice. I knew at that moment I was overdosing. But at that moment I sort of thought to myself, well, I've taken what's probably going to kill me. If I survive this, I'm probably going to be a cabbage for the rest of my life, and I'm going to end up with severe brain damage. So I'm sat there really upset in my bed thinking, fuck, well, this is the end of my life, basically. I just thought, well, last 20 minutes, let's just enjoy it. I'm going to die soon. I didn't bother calling the ambulance because I would have rather died in that room than living as a cabbage forever. So, yeah, I took that choice, but here I am. I survived it. The drug overdose didn't kill me. The next day, I could barely move. I kind of hauled out and ate food and just sort of slept for about 2 or 3 days. And for about 2 weeks, I didn't feel right. My heart was really weird. I don't know if it's affected my heart from then on, but it seems to be quite fine when I check up with the doctors, so I think not. But, I don't know. I may get recurring problems with my heart as a result of that. You just don't know. But yeah, that scared me, and that made me a lot more cautious, because since then I'd only really had overdoses that were just like sort of mentally an overdose, not an actual physical overdose. And that's more what I mean by an overdose, but I went to some more sort of mental overdosing things. You can mentally overdose. It's not going to kill you directly. It's like typically an overdose, in my opinion, is like an overdose that will make you, actually die. You'll actually die from the drug, the effects of it, and the heart attack or whatever, and possibly from anxiety. And that's more of a mental overdose, when you could just jump into the middle of the road thinking you're invincible. Yeah, that is a mental overdose, in my opinion, not necessarily physical, right? And I've seen quite a lot of overdoses happen, as you can probably imagine. Heard of quite a few. I'll go into one of the first overdoses I ever found out about that was ever like anyone who was really close to me, actually. Just because of, it was very early into the stage of me taking chemicals. No one had really experienced an overdose or anything like this up until this point, actually. So it was quite strange. It was new. We were just really understanding that actually you have to be careful. This was the first point in which we did, and I'm glad it happened when it did. But I'm not glad that it happened. Don't get me wrong. My friend who endured that, it's sad to see him because he was very different afterwards to what he was before. Anyways, I'll get into it. So, my friend, I'll give the backstory. My friend, absolute genius, actually. He used to be in the top sets for everything in school, as did I. Very, very smart guy. We used to play Magic the Gathering, and he used to come up with some really good combinations. I usually won because I built better decks, but anyway, my point is he was a very good strategist, very smart, good memory, good logical thinking. He moved away from us guys. We were about 16. We were all in secondary school at this point. He moved somewhere else to do secondary school or something like that, or he was working at McDonald's. I can't remember exactly. And I had another friend of mine who's not involved in this part of it, but he'll be involved later. We'll call him Jesus. I'll call the friend who overdosed Strange Nose. Strange. So we'll call him that because he's got a weird nose. My friend Jesus actually he went to jail for hitting some guy in the head with a stool. Yeah, that's how it goes. And yeah, he'd sort of been out of jail for about 8 months when what I'm about to talk about happened. So what actually happened is my friend, he was out on a night out with some friends, taking MDMA, drinking whatever, and they're all there with a bunch of pills, and they're all there like, oh, I'm gonna double drop. A double drop is to take 2 pills, 2 MDMA pills, so ecstasy pills, if you will. And my friend looked at the whole bag and said, oh, yeah, I could do a 10 drop, and they were like, go do a 10 drop a day, go do a 10 drop, this kind of thing, like a day to drop 10. So he did, and they all said, I can't believe you just done that. Why the fuck did you're gonna die, mate. Like, they were serious, you're gonna die. It's like, oh fuck, why'd you tell me to take 10? He continued his night. They all continued the night out, even though he'd taken 10 fucking pills at once. That is an overdose, straight off the bat. Yeah, anyone who takes fucking good pills, or even shit pills, can tell you that 10 fucking pills is an OD, generally. You'd have to have an absolute mammoth of a person who's been taking MD for all of their life, like every day for like 20 years, to be able to have a fucking immunity to that many pills. It's a crazy amount of pills to take at once. And in addition to this, when he was out on his night out, he got spiked whilst he was drinking, so there was alcohol involved, with liquid ecstasy, which is not ecstasy, which is not MDMA, it's GBL, GHB, a substance similar to GBL, which I've taken myself before. And he ended up in A&E. I think he had 3 heart attacks, and he died twice. He's still alive now. He's the 3rd incarnation of himself, right? And yeah, he was on kidney dialysis, but I'm not kidding. He had 3 heart attacks and died twice, and they resuscitated him back to life. It was very, very bad. He was on kidney dialysis and whatever for a while. And I remember me and my friend Jesus, we went to see him. And he's like, oh, hi guys, it's nice to see you, this, that and the other, and explains what's happening. He's watching TV, and he turns around, oh, hi guys, it's nice to see you, didn't expect you. My friend looks like he's about to cry. Oh Jesus, looks like he's about to cry. I'm just laughing at him. And he's like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, you've already said that to us, you're just forgetting. And my friend with the strange nose starts laughing, and I said to Jesus, look, just take the piss out of him, he likes that kind of thing. Doesn't matter if he knows that he's seen us a million times, he's just gonna be happy. So Jesus sort of went along with it, but I could tell he was just as sad as I was at this time, and I went to visit him in jail back in the day, so we're good mates, even still now. I don't see him as much, and I did some dickies to him recently, but he's still always going to be a lifetime friend, obviously, forever, no matter what shit I say about him. But yeah, my mate, after that, he had very severe memory problems, problems with his heart, problems with his, just with his brain in general. He's a lot better now, but, he still forgets things, he still finds things difficult, his brain is sort of slowly being resuscitated. He's actually become sort of a normal person, from going from a complete, just mongoloid, complete, actual mental retardation,
real mental retardation. I'm not saying, oh, he's mentally retarded as an insult. He was mentally retarded in this time, for quite a few months, and he got slowly and slowly better, and now he's like an extremely forgetful, not quite a smart person, and it's upsetting because I remember him before this overdose, and he was very sharp witted, very sharp witted. He's still sharp witted, but he had extremely good memory, extremely complex dialogue. You know, he was an extremely high level guy. You know, he would have probably got a uni degree by now and done something really amazing with that. And unfortunately, he got that taken away from him just from his stupid actions and the stupid actions of the people who spiked him with GBL. It's sad because he's an extremely good friend of mine. And at the time, you know, me and Jesus, we wanted to cry there. We couldn't cry in front of him. It wasn't right. We couldn't cry afterwards because we're both young men and we both understood it, and we'd both been through so much together. And that overdose, I think, really affected us from then on. It really affected me. Like when I'd see people out in town or out in the city drinking or whatever and taking drugs, I would be that nerd who looks after people every now and then because I remember that happening when I was younger, and I can tell now, especially from the experience, when it's just going wrong. I know all well when it's going wrong in that respect, when someone's having an overdose or whatever, or if someone's about to or being pressured. So that's the first I wanted to talk about. That's one that really affected me personally in my life. Then, so that's the second actually, because the first was the cocaine one. Then I'll go on to like overdoses, a couple overdoses I heard about. So there's some drugs going about that I was taking and a lot of us were taking in my hometown. And some woman had taken heroin for 3 days with these with it. It was AMT, I believe, and she ended up having an overdose. A friend of mine in Australia ended up dying from 2CP. Oh yeah, the lady with the heroin, she died as well. She had an overdose and that killed her. Guy in Australia died from 2CP. A friend of mine, who I'll call, I don't know what to call him. Doesn't matter. He's schizophrenic, and it's not schizo, but it's a different schizophrenic. I know. He has some friends who were taking MDMA and they ended up taking not 2CP but something similar, and they all ended up overdosing. I think this was in Middlesbrough, I think, and I think this was actually on the news. There's 4 or 5 people who mistook MDMA. I don't think they died, but I think it was pretty grim, or maybe one of them did die. I can't remember. But it was pretty grim that. And then I remember there was a time I was taking 5-me adult with these people who were new to it, who got access to it, and they were like, "How much should we take? This, that, and the other." I'm like, "Just be fucking careful. Like, I can handle my drugs, this, that, and the other." I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you can handle your drugs. I just don't want you to get fucking hurt. Please trust me, and I know what I'm talking about. They wouldn't listen to me. I'm not trying to portray this as they're fucking idiots. No, I'm trying to portray this as please listen to the people who know what they know, because bad things can happen to you. Be careful with your drugs. And we were taking 5-me adult, and she took the amount. I said, "Oh, be careful. Don't take any more. This is a lot." And then she took double that amount. She ended up saying, "Help! Help! I can't see anything. I can't see anything." She's shaking like this. "I can't see anything. I can't see anything. I'm gonna kill you." And she's there trying to fucking kill her friend, like pulling her hair and this, that, and the other. So we restrained her, put her to the floor. She's running around the street. She ended up going to a psychiatric ward for a few days, and then stabilised. And I saw like a Facebook status back when I had Facebook that said, "Oh, I'm feeling better now. I've recovered this, that, and the other." And I remember that so vividly. I remember seeing it happen, knowing it was gonna happen, warning her. And that second one, like I'm there, like trying to hide it and this, that, and the other. Fuck off, and that's it. She's taking it. She's fucking over after that. What can I do? What can I do? And then we'll go on to my final one, because I don't want to take too much on this. I just want to put the point out there that overdoses happen, and you can it can happen to you, and as well you can see people you care about die or overdose, and it's horrible. The guy in Australia died. I didn't know him so well, so I wasn't too bothered. But it's you just know here. Oh, another guy, a friend in Australia. He was an experienced heroin user. You can tell he was experienced because when he had an overdose, he woke up in the hospital. His family were around him, really disappointed because they're quite a high class family. He just said, "Oh, have I taken too much?" But you know, it's grim. You still don't want to be in that situation because he woke up knowing, "Holy shit, I could have died. Like, fuck, where am I? Why am I here?" So yeah, you know, it's a nasty situation, really. Yeah, the last one I'll go about is one that actually happened in my flat when I was taking, again, 5 mil dope with some friends. And he took about 3 times more than this fucking girl and went crazy. He ended up with a heartbeat rate of about, I think it was about 201 constant heartbeat rate. He ended up having basically what was sort of a seizure, complete mental breakdown, shouting and screaming. I'll demonstrate sort of some of the sort of things he was doing. I remember him sort of being on the floor and clicking like this, yeah, clicking like this, and at the same time he's sort of kicking his legs and going. We called the ambulance after about 5 hours of this. It took them about 30 minutes to get there. You know, they couldn't restrain him. He was so he had so much movement. You know, it wasn't a case of just there's police as well there. It wasn't just a case of like, oh shit, well, we'll just restrain him, we'll just force him to and throw him in the back. No, they had to physically restrain him like this, cuff him over, get a table and strap him around into it, and slowly, bit by bit, go down the stairs in my old flat and keep, I think there was 2 officers, one at each side, keeping his legs and arms down, whilst 2 or 3 ambulance people were lifting him up on the stairking. We went to see him at the hospital, and he admitted to me a lot later he was just trying to end it that night. And I just remember that night, the screams, they were so bad that the people from the downstairs flat broke into our flat. You know, he sounded like a little girl or something. They must have thought we were fucking doing some awful shit with someone there. I realised what was going on, just like, okay, this is nothing to do with us, alright, we're sorry. We just wanted to see everything was okay, but this is nothing to do with us. Yeah, and then they just left. But yeah, that was just haunting because I just remember how suddenly it happened. You know, the police coming to my place, the ambulance coming, and it was such a situation that the police didn't bother searching or anything. They didn't want to know. Nobody wanted to know. They just needed this to end. Basically, it was that far out. Anyways, that was my drug video on overdoses. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and maybe see you next time.